And I said, we can save some people from this with more awareness. And I decided to merge my interests in sports and science. I said, I want to write about sudden cardiac death in athletes for Sports Illustrated, which I grew up with. So I got off the science track. I left after my master's, kind of weaved my way to Sports Illustrated. I got in there as a temp, pitched this story about sudden cardiac death in athletes. They're like, temp, sit down, right? And then the Olympic marathon trials for 2008 U.S. team came to Central Park, and the guy ranked 5th in the country dropped dead like 10 blocks from our office. And then they said, don't you know something about this? And so, in a week, I was able to write a cover story, making it look like we had done like 2 years of research in a week, and I became the science writer at Sports Illustrated. It was interesting. I came in there as a temp 6-7 years behind people who were younger than me, doing sort of more remedial work for them. But I realized pretty soon that my oddball background, right? I think I was shaping up to be like a typical average scientist, but you take those average science skills and you bring them to sports magazines, like, you're like a Nobel laureate, And so I realized I could just make my own ground instead of having to compete with anybody. But the initial impetus for getting into this merger of sports and science was a personal tragedy.
And how do you define yourself from a career perspective? Are you a writer? Are you a scientist? How do you...
I view myself as this merger between a science writer and an investigative reporter, because what really fires me up is when I view